That's great. Welcome, and will you please stand and say the pledge with us? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the November 12th meeting of the Board of Trustees for the School Town of Speedway. We'll be operating tonight from a 13-item agenda. The first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of our last regular meeting, which was October 8th.
I'll move to approve the meetings of the October 8th board meeting.
I'll second.
Wonderful. Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes indicate by raising your hand. And that passes 5-0. And we'll get those signed.
Minutes are signed.
Great. The second item on the agenda is to set the date and time for our annual retreat.
Thank you, Madam President. The recommendation is to advertise the school board meeting in the board meeting room at 3 p.m. on Tuesday, December 10th in 2024. This is at Speedway High School in the old boardroom. Board members may join the work session as their schedule permits that day. There will be no business will be acted during that work session. Discussion long-term range planning will occur. Tentative schedule for the retreat will be sent to you guys as soon as we have it done.
What's the board's pleasure on this?
I move that we set the annual retreat for December 10th, 2024.
I'll second.
Okay, so moved and seconded. Discussion on this? This is an opportunity that we really avail ourselves of, where the board and the administration from the district spend time together. And it's a really important, it's come to be a really important part of our functioning together. And so it's a lot of extra time for people, but it is something that we're committed to continuing to do. So all in favor of approving the date and time for the annual retreat work session indicate by raising your hand. And that passes 5-0. The next item on the agenda is another one of those. Seems like a small little thing, but is something that is quite important to us and that we take incredibly seriously, and that is the reaffirmation of the statement of board ethics.
This is a routine matter, but this is really the focus, the foundation of what this school corporation is all about. But it starts here with the school board, gets to the administration, to the teachers, to the other staff members from the community. But this is really where everything starts right here. So I like that we do this every year, that we go through and reaffirm these. But just quickly, it's this school board member will honor high responsibility by putting kids first, children's first is the first indicator, and I feel like that's just a perfect first starting point for what we really do. The board members should demonstrate respectful relationships with other board members. They should maintain desirable relations with the superintendent of schools and other employees, and should maintain a commitment to the community. So we do this every year. It's a routine. There's a lot of indicators there, but my recommendation is to approve this.
What's the board's pleasure on this?
I move that we reaffirm the statement of board ethics.
I'll second.
not to continually have discussion on things, but I think this also bears a little bit more comment, and that is that one of the things that I appreciate most about this board is that we hear what other boards do, and I'm often left like, that violates boardsmanship 101, and we just don't do that, and we're really careful, and we know, one of the things on here, it says, understanding the basic function of a school board member is policy making and not administration, and by accepting the responsibility of learning to distinguish between those two functions. And so with a board that doesn't have a lot of turnover, and when we do have an opportunity for a new board member, we make sure that that individual accepts the responsibility of learning to distinguish these things. We are above the political things that we see happening in most other school districts. And so it's something I'm proud to reaffirm each year. Anybody else? All in favor of reaffirming the statement of Board of Ethics, indicate by raising your hand. And that passes 5-0. The next item on the agenda is to approve electrical distribution equipment co-op.
So I think we skipped 4.
Oh, yep.
Let's do
Yeah,
that one.
excited with my check marks. The next item is, in fact, number 4, to approve the schedule of 2025 school board meetings.
The school board meetings will run mirrored like we have in the past. Will be the second Tuesday, except for the following, or this upcoming October, because we have fall break on the second Tuesday. So like we've done in the past, we're going to move that to the first Tuesday. But we went ahead and have a PDF of the meetings there for everyone to see. And as you can see, October 7th, 2025 is the first Tuesday. Other than that, we'll run the second Tuesday of the month right here at the SMC. With April, we've done this for the last few years, have an executive meeting during that time over personnel. So recommendation is to approve the meetings.
I'll move that we approve the schedule for the 2025 school board meeting.
And I'll second that.
Awesome. I'm all in favor. I don't have something more to say about this one. All in favor of approving the schedule for the 2025 school board meetings, indicate by raising your hand. And that passes 5-0. Now we will do the long-awaited approve the electrical distribution equipment co-op.
Yes, within the project, there's some things that we have to move quickly on to make sure that we get them here on time. So the recommendation is, after you reviewed Meyer Nation's letter recommendation, to approve the electrical distribution equipment co-op. The recommendation is again from Veritas and Meyer Nation to move forward on this.
It's the board's pleasure.
I move that we approve the electrical distribution equipment co-op with Meyer Nation.
I'll second.
All right. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor indicate by raising your hand. And that passes 5-0. This is an exciting one, truly, because it's something we haven't been able to say in I don't know how many years, but let's approve some health insurance.
It's with great pleasure for me to recommend a 5% decrease in our health insurance for next year. And the crowd goes wild. Usually I read this 2 pages and it's always a slight increase of $3, $4, $5 here, there, and whatnot. But I'm going to have a big smile on my face to tell you we are going to be decreasing for teachers. Decrease. 24 equal payroll deductions of $111.32 for the single. It'll decrease of $241.44, a pay decrease of $10.06 for the teacher. The teachers, or all employees, we pay 24 pays, so that's, just keep that in mind, even though you're paid 26 throughout the whole school year. For the teachers, the +1 gold plan, the teacher will pay a total 24 payroll deductions of $312.32. That's $312.32. A decrease in cost for the year, $561.84. Moving for the family gold plan, it'll be a decrease of $603.36 for a pay decrease of $25 for the teacher per pay. That's significant over time. So after the last 5 years, we've had increases anywhere from 2, 4, all the way up to 6%. So this is a good news for our employees. Non-teachers, just quickly, a decrease of $96 for the single. And the plus one gold plan, it'll be a decrease of $224, and again, that's over 24 pays. And then the gold plan, family gold plan for non-teachers is $241. This is significant. I can't wait to get this, and people are going to ask me, when do I see the money going all the way back, the retro back to August, and hopefully we'll get this wrapped up, and there'll be a nice little Christmas bonus on top of everything else. So my recommendation is to approve the 5% decrease with Anthem.
I'll move that we approve the health insurance plan with Anthem.
And I'll second that.
Happily. All in favor of approving this health insurance for the new year, indicate by raising your hand. That passes 5-0. The seventh item is to approve the Ed Flex waiver.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, so there is public notice on our website currently, and it's been up there for a couple of weeks, that expands on this. I'm going to do my best to try to explain it concisely. But our district, like many others, accepts Title I funding from our federal government. And there are some requirements, many requirements when you accept that funding, of steps you have to follow in the schools that you're using that Title I funding for. One of those federal requirements is paraprofessional credential requirements. And so from the federal lens, schools who draw Title I funding, which for us, we use that in our elementary schools, can only hire paraprofessionals who have certain criteria, including 60 hours of college credit or passing a parapro exam. Our state, the State Department of Education, has applied to the federal department for some waiver flexibility on some requirements, and this is one of them, and has made the option for districts to apply for that flexibility. So we would like to apply for that flexibility with paraprofessional requirements. We've actually had this in place since 2020 and would like to reapply. We'll now have to reapply every year, and it used to cover us for several years, so that we can expand that criteria. And it's not that there are no criteria, but it just expands, I believe, and there's probably 6 or 7 bullet points listed if you were to read this on what we have posted online. But for example, in addition to those criteria, we could also hire someone who has 1 year or 1,000 hours of previous employment experience in a school working with children. It just helps us broaden our candidate pool and look at other really quality individuals who may not have that parapro exam or may not have 60 hours of college, but would be great to work with our students. So that's one waiver that we'd like to apply for that's become an option with our state. The second, another federal fund or a federal grant that we apply for is called Title IV, and that's a pot of money that's there that school districts can use for a few things. One of those is technology, one is expanding STEM options, AP options, overall wellness, mental health, social emotional wellness. And so we apply for that grant each year, and we are granted it, and it's usually just about $30,000 that we receive. This past year, we received, I believe, $30,600 and something dollars. Federally, districts who receive over $30,000 in that grant are required to spend that in certain pots. So you have to spend 20% in wellness and 20% in technology. The waiver that our state allows us to apply for is for us to have the ability to not spend 20% in these certain pots and to have the decision on which pot we put that money in or all of them. So basically to have the flexibility to use our data, use our needs assessment, and it still has to fall under the purpose of that grant, but not have to worry so much about are we hitting that 20% mark in any one category. And so we just fall over that $30,000 threshold and would like to be able to maintain that flexibility so we can allocate those funds where we feel like the needs are. We support all of those areas with other funding sources in our district, so it's just deciding where that grant is best served from year to year. And frankly, since we've received the Title IV grant, we've used it in all of the areas at some point in time. So I didn't make that as concise as I wanted to, but are there any questions about those waivers? Make sense at least?
I want to say that, make sure that I guess I want to hear, have the public hear what
Yeah.
my questions were and have you give the answers that I got to my questions. And that is when I see things like, oh my gosh, the government has put these things in place to protect, to make sure you don't hire, ridiculous people to be paraprofessionals to work with our children, and you are asking to have those waived.
Yeah.
You want to broaden it. I mean, that sounded scary to me at first.
Yeah.
That suggests that, we can't find people to meet these, so we're going to water down the criteria so we can get bodies there. And I was assured that that's not the case, and that, and so I guess public, when I looked through what we asked for, those bullet points were perfectly, they made sense. They were acceptable. We're still demanding high quality. We're still, it just isn't as rigid as the two things that, so can you, I
Yes.
don't know, say a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think that's a perfect point. It doesn't just give free rein to hire anyone. There still have to be criteria met. There, even without any sort of additional licensure, for example, one of the credentials is having a CDA, a Child Development Associate. And so there are many folks out there who might have had great experience in daycares that are relevant to early elementary school that have gone through the steps to receive that credential. And we could now honor that and use that as experience to have a person here in our schools. One is going through modules and professional development locally, and in our Title I schools, the ones this affects, I've been really proud of the structures that exist at those schools to train our paraprofessionals. They go through really high quality training regardless of this requirement. So all that to say, yes, it's really important, I think, to everyone in those hiring positions to not just hire someone to have someone there, but to hire someone who's actually going to help our kids move forward. So yeah, yes, I believe this won't water down our pool, but it does give us some more options to have some great people in our spots. So thank you. Great point.
Anything else? Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And as always, feel free. So what is the board's pleasure on this item before us?
I move that we approve the Ed Flex waiver.
And I'll second that.
Great, thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor of approving the Ed Flex waiver indicate by raising your hand. And that passes 5-0. The next is an update on the school projects and facilities. Dr. Strobel? Oh my gosh, am I skipping it again? I'm off my game tonight. I'm just trying to make this meeting longer, I guess. Sorry. We're going to, in fact, talk about the 8th item, which is to present the school financial ratings. Yikes. That's okay.
Thank you, Madam President, and that's great, because I have good news on this one. This is not a routine matter. This was a new thing, and going after our bonds, we had to go through our ratings for our school corporation. So S&P Global was basically a 2-hour interview on our school corporation, basically doing research on everything we've done financially in the last many, many years, sitting in a room with people from all over the country, basically, going through this investigation of our ratings, as you can imagine. But it was a couple hours long. We've always been excellent at an A rating, and I have great news. We improved to a AA minus, which is better than the A ratings for this, for the global rating. So it's just wanted to present that to you, that you've gone from great to extraordinary to another level, because only a few school corporations have this rating of the AA. So congratulations to the board. You're exceptional, and your finances also with the rating from S&P Global. Congratulations.
Well, yeah.
Just-
I mean, and obviously, you all that are doing the actual lifting on that, congratulations to you, and thank you to you. That is, yeah. Okay, any other discussion or comment? Okay. We'll move to the 9th item, which is to the update on school projects and facilities. Dr. Trowley, that's you again.
Okay, well, thank you, Madam President. We're going to go ahead and start, if you will. Please go ahead and throw the first PDF, and you just sit tight there for a second here, Eric. This is on our website, and I just pulled up on my phone also that it's underneath the website, board members, and the board dashboard, and you go down, it has all this information on it. But just want to let people know, we're going to go through a few things tonight. As you can see, that's on the website. You can see all the things. We've talked about this for many, many months here. So to let you know, that's not there yet. But right now, if you walked out there, I'm going to go ahead and move the camera on Mr. Roseborough. He's the Director of Operations. Can you give the board just a little bit of a summary of what it looks like right now? If you could move the camera back on our, there we go.
Bare, which is good. Tore down all the bleachers on both sides, got rid of a lot of the overgrown vegetation, we'll call it, to stay within the scope of our demo permits. So there's been crews out there since. I mean, since we started, they've been busy every day. Our next step will be mobilizing the people that are going to start doing the earthwork. So by the end of this week, pretty much all our demo crews under that permit will be done, and we'll be moving into kind of the next phase, where you actually see some dirt start moving around. All the utilities have been disconnected. Meyer Nasium has set up their construction trailer, and we just got temp power. So hopefully in the next couple of days, they'll get their certificate of occupancy for that and start conducting business from that parking lot trailer, so to speak.
Perfect. If you can move back to the PDF, the second one. I think, Bill, I think I gave you a second one. Yes. Okay. Maybe a third one? No, we'll do the second one. That's the outbuilding. What you're seeing there, you can go back to the first picture. It's a little better. Of course, the track, the outbuilding, the new bleachers, press box, and that's heavy on the outside, of course, with the ADA. And folks, what we're getting at is that that's going to be a facility not just for the schools, but we're going to have a lot of community activity there also, from the soccer to youth football. That's going to be designed that it's going to be used. So although it sounds heavy athletics for Speedway High School, our mission here is to make sure that we have a place where our kids that live in Speedway, they have a place to play. That's going to be something that everybody's going to be very happy about and proud of what we have when we're done with this. The second part of this is the field house, and that project's not going to start till a few more months because we're just now going out to bid and getting the R&R, which is room by room, completed on this. But with the 3 field, again, it's on our website if you want to take a look at that, and it's still kind of a very early schematics or the diagram of that, but there's going to be 3 courts, and that's going to allow us to almost multiply what we have. And again, not just for the school, but we're looking at community activity from basketball to indoor, even baseball and cages. So we're looking at all kinds of things that could be done in that space. Outside of the field house, we're giving some specified area for the band to continue to be able to have their marked off in their parking lot, which we'll have to redo the parking lot, but they're going to have their own area there with a drive around of the field house to get back to their area. So a lot of things are going into this. It's not just one piece. It's going to be a lot of different groups that are going to be able to use this, and not just on the inside, but the outside also. I want to bring to people's attention too, we are on a tight timeline on this, that we're pushing for the beginning of August to have this done. Our first football game is, thank you, Mr. Maple, the 22nd of August, so we do have a few days there, but we're hoping to have activities on it beginning of August of this coming year. And this is, believe it or not, in a month and a half where it's 2025, and we should have this part of it done. And then the following year, 2026, we'll have the field house completed. So anything else that you would like to add on this piece?
No, not really. That's
This
pretty
is
much
what
it.
a lot of people are talking about, but let's talk about, Eric and I are going through a lot of other potential updates also. Just to inform the board that we're working on Allison HVAC and Wheeler HVAC. Can you give us a little where we're at right now on that?
Yes, I met with one of our mechanical engineers. You guys had previously seen some of the PowerPoints on all the different systems we have that are outdated, to put it nicely, and kind of prioritizing how those need to be upgraded and how we would phase that in a way that makes sense so that our buildings can remain operational, but we're still getting things done. So that plan is kind of started with the engineers who know our buildings and have worked on them for decades, literally. So that's kind of where that, I guess we're calling that kind of Project B. And again, that's going to touch all of our buildings, but it's just kind of figuring out the order in which to do them and what type of units and upgrades make the most sense.
Yeah, we would love to have a magic wand and get it all done in June, all of it. But just know that's not going to happen. We're going to phase this in. It's on the list, and we have Allison, we have Wheeler, we have Newbie. All mechanic rooms are going to be touched. We're talking about the junior high and Fisher, getting some of the windows taken care of and some of the structural pieces. That's coming up this summer. So there's a lot of other little pieces that we'll keep you informed on. I know that's not something we have pictures of all day long that people can look at, but just know that's as important as anything else we're doing here. Make sure all the buildings and the structures, we at least take a pretty good swing at all of it.
It doesn't look pretty, but it's what feels good.
It does.
Makes a good learning environment, so.
Okay. I'm open for questions, and I'll just let Eric answer them.
I think less a comment for me, and less a question and more of a comment. I think first of all, I'm encouraged to see that the spirit of this when we started the project was that it was going to be more than upgrades to our athletic facilities, and that we are going to do things that improve, like Eric just mentioned, the learning environment, but also for our entire community, right? I think there are lots of youth that will be their lifestyle will be enhanced by this project, and then second of all, I know we have a lot of work left to do on this project, but just a preliminary, I think, thank you to both Mr. Roseborough and Mr. Maple, having had a chance to sit in some of these meetings with the facilities project team. I couldn't understate how impressed I am with their preparedness, and it's a lot of time and attention that comes in addition to their regular jobs, and I just think those two in particular should be called out specifically for the great job that they're doing on this project, and I'm sure we'll continue to do until it gets completed. So just a big thank you to you too.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
As it works around here, feel free to get home to people. The 10th item, I'll try not to skip one, is the acknowledgement of grants received to the tune of $258,974.61.
Perfect.
Which we're grateful for. The 11th item is the personnel report.
The November 12th personnel report has 10 items on it. There are 4 individuals that have resigned their positions with Speedway Schools. Michael Spalding, who was a assistant wrestling coach at Speedway Junior High School. He's moved out of the state, so he can't do it from Colorado or Arizona, I think is where he's at. Emma Merrick, cafeteria worker, 6-hour worker at Speedway Junior High School. Jordan Harrison, custodian at Speedway High School. And Christina Bautista, 6-hour cafeteria worker at Speedway High School. Under employment, Amber Wade is being recommended for a 6-hour position at the junior high in Fisher. And Elizabeth Dema, a 4-hour position at Speedway Junior High and Fisher Elementary. Deborah Bowes as the social emotional learning mentor for Speedway Schools. Lexi Moore, assistant swim coach at Speedway High School. And there are 2 individuals that are going to help us as being volunteer coaches, and that's Rachel Gregory for varsity softball and Gianni Dalcrobo as a varsity girls basketball. My recommendation is to approve the personnel report as presented.
I'll move we approve the personnel report as presented.
One second.
Any discussion? I'm all in favor of approving the personnel report as presented, indicate by raising your hand. And that passes 5-0. Do we have any other business to take care of? Okay. Hearing none, we will retire to sign claims. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.